Sony released a new camera, but if you haven't done your research, it's probably not what you're thinking. And that is the fact that Sony released a new camcorder. Now, Jarrell, you have the actual specs on this camcorder.
Yes.
But this is a true camcorder in every sense of what you're probably thinking. Not a cinema camera, not a mirrorless camera.
No detachable lenses.
A true camcorder. So go do me a favor. Let's run through the specs on this thing because it's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah. Sony, your naming scheme, you need to upgrade it because it is the Sony PXW-Z200.
I hate that.
I hate that.
I hate that so much.
But it is a single 1-inch CMOS sensor. The way they list these, 20 times optical zoom, shoots in 4K 120, 1080p 240, Cinetone, 4-channel audio, dual CF Express Type A card slots, and SDI.
Now,
and
there's
AI
two of
powered.
them. Well, there's AI powered autofocus, right? But there's two camcorders.
Yes.
So what's the difference between the two?
From what I can tell, the major difference, the Z200, let's just call it that, $4,000 is SDI.
Okay.
But then the the NX800.
Names.
Yeah, it's too much. It is $700 cheaper, and it's an HDMI.
Now, what's interesting to me about these is the zoom range. The zoom range, you said it's a 20-time optical, but the zoom range is, what is it, 24 to 400?
24 to 400.
400.
Mm-hmm.
That is, now granted, that is an expensive camcorder, especially when you're thinking like the old school Sony handy cams that used to come out. But, Carlos said the same thing. That is an expensive, and it's expensive media for a camcorder.
Got to go to that B.
But when you start talking about 24 to 400, that's I can just take this camera and this lens, put it in almost anybody's hands.
Internal ND,
and just start letting them film.
And we've watched their promo, and because it's a camcorder, everything's in focus.
That is the one thing. Like, look, I know I give Micro Four Thirds a lot of crap, but a 1-inch sensor, oh my gosh, everything.
When they put it side by side, we're not hating. We're not going back to Sony hate. But when they put it side by side with the FX6, and they're like, it matches so well, it's like, yeah, except for that
depth.
except for that depth.
Yeah, no, that's definitely different. So,
but the image.
The image looks good.
Looks good.
And I feel like with a camera like this, like obviously they're not going after filmmakers with this. But if you're somebody who is doing like broadcasts, like shooting a church, shooting sports, live events, that seems like a really capable camera. And
documentaries.
The zoom range was incredibly impressive.
Yes.
Especially because of how sharp it was all the way through.
Yes.
So as far as I'm concerned, and this is a question, like, there is still a need for camcorders in 2024. I think they definitely still have their place in certain use cases because some cameras have just gotten overly complicated for what they're trying to do. Yeah. But do you think that there's still a need for camcorders today, or do we have enough in the market already?
100%. Because I feel like not everybody's like us. Not everybody, and I'm not even like saying like, hey, we're the pinnacle of creativity or that sort of deal.
Definitely
but I'm just saying there are people that are just trying to capture what's going on.
Yeah.
And when you think about soccer games, when you think about, like a documentary, when like the actual information is the most important thing, this thing is insanely versatile. You can put it in the hands of any single person. And as long as they're not shaking crazy, you should have a beautiful image.
Right.
And so throw it in auto ND, and they had a little, going from inside to outside shot. And what I feel like the FX6 is like kind of known for in terms of its electronic ND. I don't know if this is electronic ND, but that kind of going from interior to exterior, I feel like they make stuff look easy, kind of like cell phones.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a expensive this sounds disrespectful. This feels like an expensive cell phone that just works.
Well, it's the zoom for me. I think that's going to be the reason. So Carlos asked, so is it a digital zoom or optical? So it is an optical zoom.
So 20, I'm sure like most camcorders that go 20 optical, and then there's probably, you can push it further.
Into digital, yeah.
But you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what we saw was from the 400, pull all the way back out to the 24.
Yeah.
It looked really good.
It looked good.
I mean, it looked solid all the way through. And that zoom range is so beneficial for a lot of like live events, especially if you're shooting on like sticks or you're trying to capture a conference. Like I said, my son plays baseball, and when I saw this camera, I was like, oh, this could actually be a really good camera to like capture the baseball game, because like there's no telling where he's going to be. I need to be able to zoom in, zoom out, or especially like now my son's playing football this year, like being able to like zoom in to where he is and be able to capture like that moment in full 4K, 60 frames, like so you can have that sharpness, be able to play back footage, whatever. Like that definitely, I think there is a group of people for that. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not spending $4,000 to capture my son playing football, especially with the cameras I already have running around. But yeah, I think for like a school or something like that,
100%.
This is going to be an easy one. Like if I was teaching an AV class and like I needed to teach people video and I wanted to make it as simple as possible and make sure that they get the shot, something like this I think would be a pretty decent.
Recitals, plays, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like low light looks good. Like, yeah, this is just it's good.
Yeah. See, Rob is saying, I would be so down to give one of these to whoever is doing BTS. Yeah, I think you gotta you're just like a documentary. Like you just need to capture the moment and not miss it. Something like this will be a fantastic camera.
Yeah,
where the moment is more important than the artistic elements of it. Yeah, because I don't know how artistic you're gonna be able to get with a 1-inch sensor and everything being in focus. But yeah, no, I absolutely think this is a pretty solid one. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think 2024 is the end of camcorders. I think this is good. I know Canon was really big into camcorders back in the day. I'm still here for it.
Yeah.
I think we do need some cameras that are more simple. I think a lot of cameras are getting better, but they're also getting, I don't know, kind of confusing. So it's like, how do we get to a place to where things are easy again? I think camcorders are a good way to do it.
Yeah, DM colors. What about weddings? Yes. I mean, I just feel like there are people 100% that just want to capture the wedding, capture the vows. I feel like because of filmmakers, and honestly filmmakers, that have created people's wedding films into works of art, that you would want to make sure that your client is good with just the capture.
But I feel like for like the reception or the ceremony, something like that, something like this camera would be great.
100%.
But you're probably gonna have other cameras to get the artistic stuff.
Because
weddings now, I mean, especially like our good friend Porter.
Yeah.
Weddings have definitely hit a whole.
You need that. Gosh, you need that bokeh. You need it.
Yeah.
You need that at minimum 1.8 for not every shot, but for a lot. And I think that you could do shot for shot between a FX3 versus this, and they're going to pick that FX3 every day. So I feel like as long as you do, as long as they know, we are just capturing the ceremony. Like, that's all we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think you can make good money off of putting this on a tripod, filming. Boom, here you go. Boom. And you're not going to make the type of money that someone makes making a traditional, not a non-traditional wedding film.
Yeah.
But you make $500, $1,000.
Yeah, I think that like this camera is more so going to fit in where like you don't want the bokeh. Like sports.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want depth of field, I mean, now,
focus is important.
Getting the right focus. Deep focus. But what I'm saying is like having more stuff in focus, especially in the background, is more of a benefit. Because like with sports and stuff, it's a little bit easier there.
Yeah. Okay. These camcorders are the reason why Sony is discontinuing their bridge cameras. They have the super zoom and proper form factor. don't know enough about that.
I don't know enough about the bridge cameras. I'll have to do some research on that one too. But yeah, no, I absolutely think that like we could see more camcorders hit the market this year. That would be incredibly interesting to see how it actually affects and how filmmakers choose to adopt them, and how other shooters who have maybe been forced into mirrorless cameras who really would just like the benefit of a camcorder.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen some stuff out of camcorders that look amazing.
Yeah.
And there are some creators who are like, yeah, I just like it because I don't have to worry about swapping lenses.
Yeah.
It's all right here. Super easy for me to use.
Andrew asked a good question.
Yep.
I think I just want to kind of talk about it a little bit.
The last one?
Yeah. How are we defining art today? It feels like we were saying bokeh and expensive gear defines art versus capture. Just for me personally, I am not saying anything is art. Like me personally, I'm not like trying to say an FX3 is art versus the camcorder isn't art.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is more of its expectations, what we've been trained on.
Yeah.
Like, so when these brides are on Instagram and they're checking out clips, they have formed and developed an expectation of what their wedding film, what luxury looks like, and all those sort of things. I don't think that we get to decide that personally.
Yeah.
Like when we say luxury, like I don't get to decide what's luxury. Like the world has decided this is luxury. Not just like with like camera stuff, but like what makes that shirt luxury and this shirt not luxury? You know what I mean? Like
it's the CFA logo.
Somebody, yeah. But it's like the world has decided this thing is valuable. Gold is valuable. Silver, not so much. Sort of, yeah. And so like for me, I'm saying more from like an expectation standpoint. People have been trained now in 2024 and honestly for a long time that not every photo, because that is childish to think that everything has to be shot at 1.8, 1.4, 1.2. But people, especially if that background is not pretty, bro, you better have that depth.
Yeah, you better blow it out.
You better blow it out.
Like that for me, what I was mentioning when it came to like the artistic capabilities of this camera is there are just certain limitations with a camcorder. Like, for example, you can't swap lenses. So whatever that lens gives you is what you have to work with. So that's one like giant limitation when it comes to like the amount of paintbrushes you have to work with, right? Also, the size of the sensor is another limitation. So when I look at this camera and I say, oh, it's like if you want to make something artistic, you might want to go with like a different camera, like an FX3 or mirrorless. That's just more so because you have more options with what you can do with those type of cameras. This camera takes away a lot of those options, but by taking away options, it also simplifies the creative process. So when I say you're probably not going to make the most artistic films using this camera, it's more so saying that you're not going to have as many options to be able to make your own artistic decisions because of the limitations of this camera. But it's also those limitations that make the camera easier to use by somebody who doesn't typically shoot or who is kind of new to the game.
Yeah.
So that's more so what I was meaning. I hope that makes sense for everybody.
But we appreciate your comments, even if they don't line up with what we're saying.
That was a great question. But yeah, no, I absolutely think that 2024 is the year that camcorders make a comeback. No, I'm just kidding. What are you still doing here? Oh, the clip's almost done. Oh, well, before you go, hit the subscribe button and then you know what to do. This is YouTube. You're not 5. Come on, you know what to do. Go. Hit the subscribe button.